What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took on Friday, as well as the game plan going into this week. So we actually had a really good day on Friday. I mean, we caught a really solid trade, but before we even get into that trade, I'm just going to show you guys what we looked like going into Friday. So going into Friday, if we pull up the call side, this is what we looked like. So you can see going into Friday, on this chart right here at open, we obviously ended up gapping down a bit. So going into Friday, the 30-minute did look really good, but again, I think, was there news before open or something like that? I think there might have been news before open. We ended up dropping and closing below this 50, and when I saw this right off of open, I mean, this looked super bearish. We lost the key support here on the 50, and the 50 SMAs pointed down really hard, 10 SMAs down, and then when you look at the higher time frames, same thing was happening. I mean, all these charts were pretty much going negative. You know, that 2-hour chart couldn't cross. We actually opened at the 4-hour and hit it at the closure of Thursday. So, you know, that 4-hour 50 being sloped down super hard, all the key supports breaking, pretty much led to a very bearish, bias for the day. And we actually ended up catching a really nice 0DT cross. So I'm actually going to pull up the screenshot. I know I have it here somewhere, but it was a very clean cross. So this is what it looked like. I'm going to pull it up. This is the start of the cross right at 9:46. You can see what's going on here. 10 SMA is crossing above the 50. 0 DT chart here. 50 SMA is starting to level. 10 is up really hard. At this point, you're pretty much certain that this is going to cross. If you want to wait a little bit, you could wait the extra 4 minutes, see what it looks like then. And on that closure, I'm pretty sure we opened right around that $1 mark anyways on these contracts, and we end up crossing. And we got a really good move out of this. I mean, this is what we looked like here. I mean, those contracts went from $1 all the way up to 2.8. We just pretty much went straight down. There was really no pullbacks in sight on this trade. It was a really nice cross. I netted, I think, like 80 points total on this trade. I told Discord I didn't alert this officially, but when I alerted it, it immediately dropped like 20 points, and then it came actually back up to my entry point, and that's where you could have got in. I told you guys it looked really good for lower, and we caught a good move out of it. I mean, everything was pretty much aligned on this trade. This is where the good setups come into play. The 30-minute chart broke support, was going negative. Higher time frames look bearish. I mean, this is one of those trades that you really can't pass up, and that's why I did kind of jump my entry a bit, because I saw the setup that was going on. It was really high confidence trade. I ended up averaging into this, and once it started going in my favor, I averaged up into it, and we caught like 80 points with some good size on. So yeah, I mean, that's what we took on Friday. It was very simple. I mean, we're just playing 2 SMAs crossing. Having the context of the Friday contracts is really important as well. That's where you could get those high conviction setups, and that's what we got on Friday. Very clean cross, very clean move, and overall it was just a really good trade. That's all I did on Friday. And I know we got a setup earlier in the week where we caught the 0 DT cross. I mean, so far the 2 crosses that we took throughout the week, they netted, I mean, they probably netted over like 130 points. So all I did was play 2 crosses last week when it came to futures, and I know we took some options trades as well as in the beginning of the week that didn't end up panning out. But I mean, those 2 futures trades right there pretty much make up for those losses on options. Those are really good setups that we took, and we capitalized on it. Going into the week, this is what we currently look like. So when we look on a higher time frame perspective, we use this monthly contract here. We use the September 19th. We're gonna be using these up until let's see, what are these? The September 15th, I believe. Yeah, September 15th. So we're gonna be using this all of this week and then all of next week, and then we pick the new ones on that following week. Or I'm probably gonna pick them on that Friday on the 12th. But yeah, we're gonna be using these monthlies up until the 12th, and then we're gonna rotate them out till the October contract. So this pretty much just gives you the higher time frame picture and trend. So right now, this isn't a great looking chart. I mean, it's kind of still in between of what's actually gonna happen. Again, another day or two, and like I said, we're gonna be able to find out whether we're gonna see a big drop or not, because this chart is pretty significant if it does cross negative. And by negative, I mean this 10 SMA crossed below the 50, which you can see it's actually going negative, but 50 SMA still sloped up. That's kind of the deciding factor when playing crosses. It's the 50 SMA. On a normal cross, like I said, the 50 SMA has to be level, which means flat or curling up. In this case, when it's going negative, you want it to be curling down or flat. So right now it's still sloped up, so it's kind of in between of deciding on what it wants to do, and we just have to wait, kind of see what the next day or two looks like, because if this chart does go negative, 10 crosses below the 50, 50 curls down, I mean, that's going to be really bearish. And if that does happen, the puts most likely will get a cross on the 30-minute. And I would expect a really significant drop because it's the same concept as, this monthly chart getting a cross. 10 goes above the 50 here on the calls, and we see a massive move higher. It's kind of the same concept, but it's the opposite. 10 estimate crossing down and, 50 curls down, we're going to see a significant drop because these are calls. And when that, negative cross does happen, we see a significant move in the opposite direction of the premium, which would be the put side. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a drop all the way up until the 50 SMA on the puts. So these contracts could go from 5 all the way up to about like 15, or probably like 15 to $17 a contract, because obviously this SMA will update every day and drop a little lower. So I mean, until we hit this 50 SMA, I really wouldn't expect any crazy bounce. But first, we need the 30-minute on the weeklies to actually end up crossing. So if we pull up the weeklies right now, weeklies here on the 650, or no, my bad, the 630s or 640s. I mean, if we go to the 30-minute here, we ended up hitting that resistance on Friday. You could see we couldn't get a cross going, and we ended up rejecting the 50, pulled back a little bit, or obviously we ended up bouncing in that case since these are the puts. And this chart isn't all that bearish at the moment, just because we couldn't cross. The chart's crossing back down. So like I said, we're in that in-between phase. We're neutral right now. There's no trend in the market, but once we do get a cross going on either the puts or the calls, that's when we're going to see some significant moves. I would love to see a put cross because, again, that would signify the monthly chart's probably going to cross negative, and we're going to see a pretty good drop. And all we have to look for in that scenario, if market flips bearish, we look for a 5-minute cross on puts. It's really simple, and then you can just buy the 5-minute 50 dips, and then if the market does bounce going into tomorrow and this week, then we're going to be neutral, and most likely we'll get a call cross. So it's pretty much just a waiting game. There's no kind of guessing on what's going to happen, because we just, we have two scenarios. Like I said, we flip bearish, we play the put cross, buy 50 dips. If we're neutral and we bounce, most likely we're going to get a call cross and just play the call cross and play longs. I mean, there's a scenario for each side, and that's why the system's great. You're not really married to one side, and you kind of know when the trend's going to flip and when it's not going to flip. Like right now, I have no clue what's going to happen. I mean, we didn't get a cross going, so now we just wait and see what happens. We play a cross if we get it, and that's that. I mean, that's a great thing about the system. We're just watching two lines cross, and the 30-minute chart gives us that bigger picture trend, or the weekly trend, and then we also have that monthly contract to see on a higher time frame picture of what's actually going on. So that's what we did for SPY. I mean, it's very simple. We're just playing 5-minute crosses. That's kind of the outlook going into this week. We're in between of what's going to happen. There's no trend. Like I said, if we could get this 30-minute chart to cross, that'd be perfect scenario, because then it'll be very easy. We just play the shorts, buy the 50 dips, play the crosses on the puts, and that's that. I'm not interested at all in longing when that 30-minute on the put side is crossed. It's very simple. I mean, we have certain rules to follow, and you just got to follow them, and you'll do well. I mean, if you could catch one solid cross a day, I mean, that's plenty. That's all you need. Like, even if on the days where we're neutral, I mean, if you catch a good cross, that's all you need for the day. There's no point to stick around in a neutral market. Again, that's another good thing. We know when the market's going to be moving, most likely, because if 30 minutes crossed and we have trend, that tells us that market's going to be moving. And when we're neutral, most likely, we don't see the greatest, trades, because there's no trend in the market. So, you honestly don't need to trade the neutral market. You could only trade the trend, and you'll do well. Or you could kind of, take a trade where, like we did on Friday, where the 30-minute chart's crossing negative, and then you get a 0 DT cross paired with that. So that's kind of the same, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Same confidence, I'd say, in a trade or probability as to a trending market, because you have that 30-minute chart aligned with the 0 DT chart crossing. So it's kind of the same thing as taking a trade in trend in terms of probability, because you have that extra confluence with the 30-minute going negative and that 0 DT cross. I mean, it's a good combination. So, I'd say those would be the really good trades to take when, like, we're going into a neutral market, because you have that extra confluence. But yeah, like I said, that's the game plan going into the week. I haven't really looked at any individual stocks, if I'm being honest. I'm not really sure of what any of those look like. But yeah, I mean, we had a good week trading SPY, so that's what I'm going to be rocking with this week, looking for some crosses, and hopefully we can get some trend going, because then it'll just be, easy loot from there on. But I was gonna think of something else, but yeah, we have a lot of news this week. I think we have a red folder every single day this week. September's coming, or it is September. Usually, I think volatility is pretty high in September, so if we could catch some good crosses, that'd be great. Volatility, if we could get back to some 100-point trades, that'd be great. But again, we're just gonna play what we see. System will guide you. It's very simple. If you guys want to learn, join our Discord down below. I mean, that's where all the trades are shared. All the knowledge on the system's in there. You don't need to be in there to learn. Obviously, I have all these videos on YouTube. But if you want to see that like step-by-step, process throughout the day, that's the place to be. You could ask questions in the free Discord as well. But yeah, that's all I got. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. I'm out.